Okay, so this is how you do regular maintenance on the 2004 and I guess 2005 and 2006 version of the MacDev Gladiator. They were all pretty much the same, I believe. Some of the 2006s had an 07 bottom works, but if you have one with a stock 06 bottom works, it should be the same as this. So like all Gladiators, they come in two pieces, the top works and the bottom works. So we're going to take these two and spin them apart and set aside the bottom works. And the top works has the piston retainer and the shim stack in there. And just going to take a pen and stick it down the top of the top works and push the piston down, and all those pieces come out. And then I'm going to take a little paper towel and clean out the inside of the top works, set that aside, and now we've got a pile of parts here. So we've got the piston retainer, which is this piece here. There's actually split into two pieces: the upper retainer, which has the O-rings, and the lower retainer, which is just the flat metal disc. So I'm going to clean off both these O-rings and the lower retainer, set those aside, and then take off all the washers and clean off the piston, set that aside. Now the washers don't need to have any lube or anything on them. They really shouldn't. They don't move around at all. I mean, they just get compressed, so just kind of clean them off a little bit if they do have anything on them. And then all these washers are bent in such a way that they're convex. So you want to take the concave side of the first one and stick it onto the piston. So it's basically pointing away from the piston O-ring. And the next one you want to have pointing towards the O-ring, and you just want to alternate them back and forth like that, so that they're all pushing away from each other and acting as a spring. And get all those back on there. And so once we've got all of the washers back on there, we're just going to take some Militia Lube or Dow 33 and put a little bit around the piston tip, just a little bit, and then we're going to take the retainer, take a little bit of lube and just run that along the inside there and cake that, put that piece back together. And you want the side, the upper piece with the O-rings in it, to go on to the piston tip first. So slide that back on, clean off the piston tip, take a little more lube, put it on the piston O-ring and a little bit on the retainer O-ring, and just run that along both of those, basically just so that they look wet. They don't need to be caked with lube or anything like that. They, it shouldn't look dry either. So I'll set that down, take a little bit of lube and run it along the inside of the top works, and I'll take the washer stack and piston and retainer and slide that back in so that the piston O-ring is going in first, piston tip is popping out last. Just push that inside, take the paper towel and just kind of clean off the piston tip, set that aside. And now the bottom works, all you really need to do here is check for this reg seat, the small red plastic piece in the bottom works. If that gets dinged or dented at all, you're going to want to flip it over or replace it. So the way to do that is to just turn this around, take your 3/32 adjuster screw and then screw that in, and you want to make sure that you're holding on to the other end of this, so that because the reg seat and the ball bearing and washer are going to pop out. So just screw that in until they do pop out. There they go. And then you can put the ball bearing back in and put the washer back in. And then you can just take the little plastic reg seat and flip it over, stick back in, and then just back out the adjustment screw again, push on the reg seat, and then I'll just slide back into place. Usually this, when it's operating normally for a sidewalk, like somewhere around 190 to 200 psi, the reg seat on the 04 will be flush with the metal around it. So I'll just leave it there, and then once you're done with that, if you want, you can put a little lube along the threads on the bottom works so that the top works and the bottom works don't bind up if they get cranked together too tight. Then just screw them back together and take your 3/32 again and turn the adjuster screw in basically till you feel it stop, because when you re-loop things and move things around, the piston is going to move around, and you want to kind of zero out the reg before you put it back on the gun, because it could end up being at a higher pressure than the gun should operate at. So then you can, once that's done, you can put on a reg tester, put it back on the gun with a gauge, and then increase the pressure again by turning it counterclockwise, and then just turn that back up till you get to velocity, and that's it.